Hey everyone, welcome to episode 209. It says 208 on the thing, but I'll change it in just a 20 seconds time. But we're having the worst, we're having the worst technical issues, but you guys don't need to know about that. My name's Geoff. Welcome to Brew Gooders, the beer, comics, and assorted geekery podcast. We've got a full team tonight. So we've got, to my right is a stew of lager lugs. Below me,
better late than never.
Yes. On the bottom, there's a Mr. John Bruce.
Hello.
And on the bottom right, but not as far as where we're. Doesn't work, is it? The some joke right. About not being all right.
I'm right and I'm a bottom.
Our bottom, Andrew McGee.
Top. Our bottom. Yeah. We've reached our bottom. Right. We've reached our bottom, Eddie.
So yeah, thank you for everyone's patience. Sorry we're late, technical stuff, but yeah, let's have a podcast. We how's everyone doing? Are we all okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, how's your night going, Geoff?
You do that thing when you do that. You do it as long as you do it underneath. Under
your knee or your hip.
You get to hit somebody.
Aye, get dead air.
I got a bunch of beer bought for me from because it looked European, but it's actually just made in Cornwall. It's like as does this new lager called Corriv, which sounds like it sounds like it would be like German or something, but it's made in the St. Austell brewery in Cornwall. So it's fine. It's like a $5 for 6 cans. It looks like lager. It tastes like lager. It's fine.
It's a good price, so you can't go wrong in this day and age with inflation being what it is. £5 for 6 cans is the best.
It looks like lager. It tastes like lager. I'm happy enough with it. So, what's everyone else drinking?
I am drinking a Crafty Weizen, a Hefeweizen beer from the Crafty fine drink shop in Kirkcaldy. It's a collaboration with Salt Rock.
Oh yeah, is Salt Rock are Scottish, aren't they not? Did I make that up?
Yeah, I think they're Fife based.
Yeah, I think so too.
But no, it's quite nice. It always throws me off guard when drinking like a Hefeweizen because it almost just tastes like cider.
It looks a bit cidery in colour as well, actually. That
It was a full tumbler half an hour ago, but. So
when we were supposed to start with a full glass.
We were fresh drinking.
I've got a Swedish cider.
Have you?
Yeah, it's called K-Perberg.
All right.
You do have. If you do go into Asda's, they do sell a Kopparberg lager.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah, it's like lemon and lime. So it might as well just be cider, but
it will just be cider. It's feeling like a cider night. I'll be honest with you, it almost felt like a rum and coke night. It's been that sort of hectic at work that it felt like it should be a rum night. But I still have to go back to work tomorrow, so I can't really make it a rum night because rum nights very quickly become mellow nights, and then they very quickly become rum late nights, and then they very quickly become rum early mornings, which finds me watching YouTube videos at 2:00 in the morning still. I'll just have one more before I go to bed.
I really need to know what the best 1980s sci-fi movie produced in Belgium is.
See, before you said produced in Belgium, I was like, I'm there. Krull.
Star Crash.
Beastmaster. Beastmaster. Mark something.
Was that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, it was exactly what it was.
Star Crash.
Was that made in Belgium? Was it?
I think so. I don't know. It feels like it. Star Crash had sorry for anyone that doesn't know what Star Crash is. It had like a fucking massive budget and stuff like that. Like there was a real attempt there to make something, and it
a rip-off of Star Trek or Star Wars.
Yeah, totally. But
you'll never beat Space Hunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. Awesome.
I do know, like I think that happens quite a lot, isn't it? When you get a movie or you get like a TV program, and then you get lots of kind of jump on copycats. And obviously, like Star Wars pretty much created that as like a subgenre. Yeah. But Star Crash is the one that comes to mind as having like what I've read about it is it had a massive budget. There was a lot of money behind it, and there was like I think they were all just on coke. Like I think they just like they snorted all their they snorted all the money away. Like it was just mad. Like it's like we've talked about it on the podcast before, but that film The Room, and then obviously if anyone like it's horrible. Like it's a dreadful movie, but if you watch The Disaster Artist, which is a really fun movie about the making of The Room, like Star Crash feels like it's got things like, they built sets that they could have just gone outside to film and things like that. There's a whole thing in The Room where they're like they get an alleyway built for a scene when there's like a perfectly good alleyway around the back of the studio that they're filming in, and like one of the characters is actually says something like, why are we building an alley? We can just film over there. And he's like, no, because this is Hollywood, man, and we need to build our sets. And it's like, I think Star Crash suffers from that as well. Obviously, a bit different because it's a space opera, but they seem to spend money on things that don't need money spent on it, and then don't spend money on things that need money spent on it. So everyone should watch Star Crash. It's good fun.
It looks Roger Corman, which is always the sign of a quality movie.
The red flags are there.
The best is that David Hasselhoff?
Yes, Hasselhoff.
Yeah. I'm looking at the things here. It looks like a rip-off of so much. I can see a glowing sword. I can see a girl in knee-high boots and what looks like a leather bikini. I think I can see Boba Fett.
Basically, if it came out now, Colin Maxwell would hate it. It's that kind of thing. Like he would just be like, "This is ripping off everything," but like it's more blatant.
Genuinely can't believe not only I'm not qualified to speak about this. I've never seen it. I've never even heard of it. I don't think before today. And I own the comic shop. I pride myself on knowing these things. I can tell you the full cast of Krull or Hawk the Slayer. It's just like why have I never heard of this movie?
Heard of this movie.
And where can I find it apart from? And I'm going to say this without a shadow of a doubt. Apart from John Bruce's DVD collection,
I don't own it.
Honestly,
I do not own it. I do not own it. No, I've looked on it on many occasions, but I do not own it now. You probably find it up on YouTube.
That was a time, wasn't it? Or YouTube. You'll be able to get most of it on YouTube, or you get documentaries. You'll get like the making of it.
I'll definitely have a look. We've become distracted again, guys. We've went on a tangent. We're 5 minutes in. We're talking about the best 80s or 90s sci-fi movie. And just for the record, it's The Last Starfighter. Let's move on.
Let's get Katie's opinion.
We're going to bring on our guest, who's also an expert on the 1980s pulp sci-fi classic Star Crash. She's not. I don't think she is. I don't think she knows what we're talking about.
Probably wasn't born.
So we want to welcome back Katie Cunningham because she's a good friend of the podcast. She's just a good friend of us in general. She always makes an effort to come and find us at cons, which is always a nice little treat. But Katie is I had all my notes on the alternative app, and because we've had to jump onto this app, I'm making my notes up as we go. But Katie is the digital honcho of Time Bomb Comics, which is one of the UK's sort of premier and biggest independent comic companies now. She is also she's also a comic writer in her own right, and has oh my god, Katie, I forgot the name of your book. She's shaking her head in the
Let
green
her
room.
tell us.
Yes, but she has Katie's got this amazing book about like the Soviet World War II stuff, and it's called Something Under the Stove. And I'm scrabbling for my notes, and she fucking hates me, and I always do this to her. But she is amazing. So without further ado, here's Katie Cunningham.
Hello, it's called Rotten Under the Snow, and
I couldn't remember the
it's fine. It's got
verb.
a lot of words in it. I understand. It's okay. I forgive you.
I've read it. It's fucking brilliant. Oh my god, how are you doing? You okay?
I'm okay. How are you doing? How's your memory doing?
Geoff's not having a good day. His memory's gone. His technical problems. He's sitting there in an ill-considered mustard yellow hoodie.
He's deep in cables, peripherals.
My new jumper. Sorry, Kay. I got a new jumper today.
Mighty Ducks.
Ooh.
Love ducks.
Quack, quack, quack.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. How are you getting on, Kate? How is everything? You're the most busiest person ever when I see you. So
I mean, stuff seems to just happen and I can't say no to it. It's weird. It's just I have an issue with like turning down like anything. So then I'm doing like 5 jobs at once and I'm bad at all of them, but somehow they keep going. And yeah, so that's how it's going for me. Yeah. Biggest thing going on just now, I'm sure if you guys know, but we've got Quantum at Time Bomb right now, and so that's an ongoing project. Quantum is our news agent anthology that comes out bi-monthly, and I had a story running in it for issues like 2 to 5, and it's coming back in issue 7, so that's cool. And yeah, we've got a lot of different stories in there every couple of months, and it's been pretty knackering to be involved in such an ongoing thing. Like it's every 2 months a new one's coming out, and Steve just won't stop making them. I can't make him stop making the comics. It's just Steve and Dave throwing comics at me all the time, but it's okay. Yeah.
I was gonna say, have you got because the last time we had you on, which feels like I don't know, it was maybe just coming out of lockdown, and Rotten Under the Snow had just come out.
Yeah.
And Time Bomb has. And like obviously you've been working with Time Bomb for a while, but so much is happening. It was 2 years ago that we were sitting in a pub, Steve sitting on his NDA, and me trying to get him to like tell everybody drunkenly at the table what he wasn't allowed to talk about. And 2 years later, Spectrum and Quantum have both been in W. Smith. It's amazing.
It's been an exciting time. I mean, I think it's really weird when Steve told me about Spectrum, which I don't know, like just in case anyone doesn't know, it's a Jerry Anderson anthology using New Captain Scarlet and Terrahawks and Space Precinct, and doing like new stories set in those continuities. When Steve first told me about that, I was really concerned because I felt like maybe it was something where he'd like had a dream and then he'd woken up and thought it was real, and I was going to have to tell him it wasn't real. So it was good that wasn't the case. And now we've got 2 of them. And yeah, it seems to be going well. It's like, it's exciting. It's licensed comics, which is a big deal and exciting. And yeah, we've also, I think since last time I was on, we've also had the Accent UK merger when Time Bomb and Accent UK, which was previously Dave West's company, sort of came together, and now we're one big company still called Time Bomb, but we've got like all of Dave West's titles like Western Noir under the Time Bomb umbrella now, so that's really cool. And yeah, you should see it at Comic-Cons. We have so many books. There's so many. It's real. I mean, it's nice, but it's also bad when like Steve and Dave both abandon me and I'm like left to be in charge of all the books. It's just the running backwards and forwards and trying to make sure that everybody knows that they can have a look inside if they want to.
I always feel bad when I see Steve whenever we go to these conventions and he's arriving and you're trying not to catch his eye just in case he's going to ask you to give him a hand with all the boxes. Because he's got about 25 books with him and 30 copies of each one or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you try not to catch Steve's eye until after he's set up.
It's difficult. He's very like hyper aware. He'll catch your eye, and it's difficult not to look at him because of his brightly coloured jackets. So
yeah, you can see him from a mile away. That's the same. If you see him before 10 o'clock on a Saturday, goes over to Steve. Let's go. Geoff taught me that.
I was going to make a joke about how, like, despite there being so many books at the table, it's still amazing that the most eye-catching thing at a Time Bomb stand is Steve.
Steve's jacket.
I think he puts work into being the most eye-catching thing. Like, I think if he wasn't, he'd be very sad. So he'll be happy to hear that from you, Geoff. I think. Yeah. I'm sure he's planning on getting new jackets commissioned at some point, probably with like glitter on them or something, just to make sure he's staying ahead of the curve on that.
I remember being at Thought Bubble last year and wearing a leopard print shirt. I
remember that. Yeah.
Yes, but like I remember catching Steve's eye and I'm looking at me as if to say, "What the fuck are you doing?" It's like,
this is my racket, not you.
If I'd seen you this year, then I don't
No,
know. Was it, I think
decaf.
it was a decaf in your lady's frock coat.
Yeah, that I stole from my wife emptying her wardrobe.
The thing is, because you're so like, I was just jealous because you're so slim, you can get away with a frock coat. I always fancy myself like looking like one of the Three Musketeers or something like that.
Steve Tanner is genuinely like one of my comic heroes. Like, I think he's one of the I would have said he was like an unsung hero in British comics, but he's becoming more sung. You know, like
it's very deserved. He's he's got so much enthusiasm, and he's so willing to like take things on board and work with people. He's a really good guy.
I think that's what always strikes me about him, because we've been out for food and drinks and everything like that after as well. You see him at any point during the convention, and he's just the nicest guy there. He'll stop and chat with you and spend half an hour or something like that, even if you're not buying anything. He's just the nicest guy, and the prolificness. I'm going to get lost now.
Keep going. Till you get it right.
Prolificacy of his work. The amount of work he puts out there.
Oh God,
he's very good.
It's just amazing. Yeah, and the quality keeps exceptionally high. So.
It just looks like he's just like he's like the con dad as well. Like he looks after, like I interviewed him at Acme for the Time Bomb 16th anniversary.
Yeah.
And I was really nervous, even though we'd like to the point that when we were given our list of interviews that we were asked to do at Acme, I was like, I want to interview Steve because he's my mate and he'll look after me. So. I interviewed him. Didn't interview him very well, and then as I got up to like shake his hand, he pulled me in for a cuddle and asked me what the pub arrangements were for the evening. So I was like, but you seem to be getting busier all the time as well. Like, as I say, like before, we would grab you for a chat, and then like obviously we've been at Thought Bubble and like hung out with you for drinks and stuff like that. But you always seem super busy now. Like you
honestly, I feel like I spend a lot of time just like running between places, and it's not. Honestly, I should probably just organize my time better. But so I'm obviously working with Time Bomb, and I'm working with this with an American publisher doing the same sort of stuff. They're called Marble, not Marvel, Marble Press, not Marvel. Every time I say that to someone, they're like, Marvel? And I'm like, no, not that one.
Not that one.
So I'm working with them, and obviously I have the writing stuff going on too. I think one of the things with writing is you've just got to like make yourself do it and find the time to do it. And I spend a lot of time finding the time to do it. So like, I'm currently editing a novel that I wrote on my phone last year while commuting to work. It's you've just got to like get the time that you can, right? It's exhausting, but so
if you can write a novel on your phone. It would be exhausting.
I'm not saying it's a good novel, but it was a first draft, and now it's on like the 6th draft, and it's still being drafted. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, you just got to like find that, right? It's what you've got to do. Yeah.
The only draft that has to be good is the final draft. So,
true. Yes. Although
there's a really good,
I did see the Thought Bubble after party last year, and so I was there. So I don't work all the time.
Of course you saw him. Sure, of course you saw him.
That was last year we were only at that Thought Bubble after party. Feels like we're probably there for an hour or two, but I don't know. We weren't feeling like the Thought Bubble after party a couple of years ago was amazing. So we went back up. We went up to the 2023 one thinking, I don't know, with 2022 in our head, and thinking like, oh, this is like the highlight of the weekend. And there was something a bit, I don't know, it was a bit colder or a bit odd. There was certainly, like, we ended up just going back down to Hales, didn't we?
I'm sorry to hear that. I had a great time. So, the problem was you. Sorry.
Yeah, it was. It's because we're a bunch of middle-aged men who don't dance.
The not dancing is a problem. The dancing is great. Kieran Gillen does the sounds, and it's fantastic. You've got to do the dancing.
one of my endearing memories of, I think it was 2022, was seeing you and a group of other comic creators dancing your heart out to Kieran Gillen's set, which I think at the time was "This Must Be the Place" by Talking Heads. It was like the most it was the most bizarre. Like it's not a dance floor epic, is it? But like
it was that night.
We went into that room where the dancing was, and it was a bottle only bar. So we did it for ages, and then found out we couldn't even get a pint of beer. We ended up with bottles of cider. Yeah.
You weren't bothered about that, okay?
No, I was too busy dancing. No, the thought bubble after party it's such a weird thing. Like it's got such a mix of like just normal people and then like actual famous comic people, and then it's all sort of in this old fancy hotel, and it's like all these like cavernous rooms with just people sitting on the floor in anime wigs. It's fantastic. It's
last year, the year before, in 2022, there was also like a fog or a mist outside, and there was lights.
Yes, there was.
So and that's why it felt kind of magical. We were outside, sitting with Ben from 77, and it just felt like we were sitting in in Hogwarts, surrounded by mist, and everything was going on, and Ram V was in the main room glowing like a giant L'Oreal advert of awesomeness. It felt magical, and this year it just wasn't the same.
Well, that's the thing. Like it's never gonna be the same as the magical, perfect thought bubble after party. So you've just got to make the most of it and dance as much as you can to Barbie Girl, which was playing. And I'm very sorry that you all missed it.
What I loved, one of my I actually really liked about the 2023 after party was there was a wedding on at the same night.
Yes.
And I don't know why it was surreal, because I don't know obviously they
don't know why they double booked.
They double booked.
What a double booking though.
There was this moment where like wedding guests were walking past because they'd set the wedding party up in 2 rooms opposite sides of the hotel. So if they wanted to go from like their dance floor area to like the reception area, they were having to walk past loads of drunk comic geeks. It was just so bizarre.
Were people still in costume at this point?
Absolutely.
A lot of people in costume.
Yeah, there's cosplayers and that. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I don't know who I don't know if it was annoying for the wedding guests or just totally bemusing, but it was just such a weird clash of like, because it's the Majestic. The Majestic is what it sounds like. It's a really, really nice hotel.
Like fancy and like all like gilded bits and like wood carving and stuff. It's a very sort of like rich manor house place in the middle of Harrogate, which is itself a pretty fancy little town. It's just the vibe is so strange at Thought Bubble, but it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you didn't have a good time at the last party.
No, we had a lovely evening. We just we were maybe just
we were tense.
Missing matching shirts.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we're going to get down this year. We talk about going to the lakes instead, but apparently lakes has been severely curtailed this year. There's not as many tables, and it's a much smaller event. So I'm not sure.
That sucks.
I'm not even sure if we're having a boys weekend away this year.
We are. We just haven't worked it out yet.
We are. We just haven't worked out yet.
What about yourself, Katie? What have you got coming up in terms of cons and stuff? Presume that Time Bubble.
Yeah, we just had Acme, and I'll be at Thought Bubble. I'm honestly not sure this year. It depends on because the Time Bomb team is kind of all over Britain at this point. So it's like, we just sort of go to the ones that are closest to us. It'd be nice to get to MCM again, but also MCM is like so big, it's so exhausting, and it's like, it's kind of agoraphobic when you're there. I don't know have you guys been to that one? Is
that in London?
Yeah. It's just like it's like a town-sized con. It's huge. It's very. It's like a surreal experience. You're inside this building, and it just keeps on going and going, and you could like live in there. It's that sort of size, and it's just full of cosplay. So much cosplay. It's so I don't know. I'll be at the other Acme and Thought Bubble, and we'll see. But I get to whenever I'm not at the cons, Steve and Dave just make sure that they send me a picture of Steve standing very enthusiastically behind the tables that I can post on Twitter. And that honestly encapsulates most of the con experience for me anyway, so it's fine.
That's I suppose that's another weird thing about being like a table lure. I can't remember the word at a con, because I found that at Thought Bubble last year. Thought Bubble's like is in its own right quite big, but like you end up getting stuck. Well, not stuck, but you end up, unless you make the effort, you can be behind a table the whole weekend, and it's like the whole thing that you buy, and you're only really aware of your little part of it.
Yeah, that's true. It's I have like I've been going to Thought Bubble in particular for a few years now, and like it's nice because you do sort of make friends that show up again and again. So that it's good because it gives you an excuse to go and like look for people and say hello to them rather than just like stay in one place. But it's also like it is like, because you're stuck in there, or stuck is the wrong word. It's a nice experience, but because you're there the whole day, you're just sort of like you're in a weird sort of half working mindset where you're just sort of like, if I leave the table, something bad will happen and all my comics will go on fire. So I've got to like stay here all day. But at the same time, like it's good to go and have a wander about and see what's going on there. I always like to see the cosplay at Comic-Cons. I never cosplay myself, but I'm very admiring of it. And it's always fun to see what's like popular year to year. So that's one of my I cosplay spot, and then I text my friends when I see like characters they recognize, and they find it very annoying. So I enjoyed that.
We play a game called Cosplayer Life Choice, where we're actually
that's right, yeah. Which is exactly as sad as it sounds. It's really good.
Sometimes it's happened before. Like sometimes I've got into like I use cosplay. Like I'm not a very good salesman at cons. Unless I'm selling somebody else's book, I'm really good at that. Like Stephen Ingram owes me so much money because but like sometimes I'll speak to people, and one of the first things I'll try and do is like, oh, I like your costume. But there has been a couple of times where I've been like, I really like your cosplay, and they're like, I'm not in cosplay.
And you're like, oh no.
Yeah. I think the mistake I always make is that I think every single girl dressed in the Japanese anime style is Sailor Moon, because they all look almost identical to each other. So my friend's daughter was there one time, and I was like, oh, Sailor Moon. And it was like, no, it was some other random obscure anime.
This is so offensive to the magical girl genre. I can't believe you're saying this.
They've all got the sailor bit at the back. Like I just assume if the sailor bit is at the back of the dress, like, it's
a Japanese school uniform.
Is that school uniform in Japan? Is
yeah.
I'm not one of these guys who goes and looks at videos or pictures of girls in Japanese school uniform.
Wow. No. You've got to watch more anime, which is I mean, rarely do I tell anyone to watch more anime, but clearly that's what you're missing. You need to watch some anime.
I've watched all the anime. I watched Ghost in the Shell.
All the anime.
All of them.
And Akira.
Nailed it.
And then Crying Freeman. All during the early 90s. And then that was me. That was done. As far as I was concerned, I'd seen enough anime to last minute. Occasionally, I've got a Steelbook Akira. I watch that every couple of years.
Yes, thank you, Anna.
I'm sorry,
thank
Anna.
you.
Anna
knows.
I'm not aware enough of the society, and it's horrible because the girl, it was my friend's daughter, and I was like, "Oh, Sailor Moon," and she was genuinely, I think, offended. But
as she should have been. Like, you wouldn't go around calling Batman Superman, would you?
No, but I'm a middle-aged man who usually has a beard. I'd be expected to know the difference between Batman and Superman, particularly at con. Sailor Moon and stuff like that anime, and good as I'm sure it is, it's not for me, is it? It's not made for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Yes. Uh-huh.
So my favorite cosplayer ever was at Acme a couple of years ago, and I think this is probably one of Andrew and Krana and Colin's favorite moments as well. Whereas there's a guy dressed in a really awesome tuxedo, and he looked a fucking $1 million. And so I asked him like if he was dressed as James Bond. And this led to a conversation for about 20 minutes where he never actually revealed what his cosplay is. And we were able to kind of tease it out of him, but he was dressed as He was dressed as Dr. Bashir from Deep Space Nine in one episode where he was in the holodeck dressed as a secret agent. I think it was the cosplay.
It was Dr. Bashir cosplaying as James Bond, not James Bond. This was the thing. So it's so meta that we were like, okay, that's fair enough.
That's amazing.
You could have just turned around and went, yeah, I'm James Bond, and walked away, and we would have been fine. But he as I say, through
He
had a lot
wanted
of time
to
to
make sure
kill
that
that
you
dude.
knew the truth.
He wanted us to know that. And then obviously he threw in a couple of Dr. Bashir quotes, talked about the best episodes of season 5 of Deep Space Nine, and then proceeded not to buy anything off our table. And then it was like,
you got
Maybe that
paid
was
in
part of it.
knowledge. He paid
We got
you
paid in
in the
knowledge.
Yes, the
information.
cosplay to get his money.
I think it's a strange choice. If you're going to wear a tuxedo, yeah, just be James Bond, or something.
Or be
like
Tuxedo Mask.
Madoka Magica. Okay, I'm going to write that down.
Yes,
honestly.
Madoka Magica is really great. Madoka Magica is great. Yeah.
I've got a new pencil, apparently, which
Yeah.
will last me forever, and I'm writing that down.
Coloured pencil.
Card.
Oh no, it's a magic pencil. You can write with it for 20 kilometers without having to.
Oh, it's one of those
having to
shins. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got it for drawing.
How do you measure writing in kilometers?
No, this should say you could
I'm
write
just
a
drawing a
20-kilometer straight line. It never
okay.
needs sharpened and things like this. So
You run a 20k dragging a pencil behind you.
Yes.
They wouldn't have to sharpen it.
I'm sure that's how they test it. I bought 2 just in case there lies. But
What's the standard?
Deep
What's the
Space Nine.
standard kilometer on a pencil?
Did you buy it from a guy in a tuxedo?
A normal pencil would be lucky to last half a kilometer.
You said that with such authority.
And you'd have to stop. You'd have to stop every 30 meters to sharpen it. So,
And to vomit for doing all the exercises.
I mean,
Yeah.
clearly the only way to do this would be in like some sort of sidecar effort where you're like someone else is driving a motorbike and you're like sitting there pulling the pencil along the ground, because otherwise you're not going to be able to like move at the correct speed. And that's just science.
We're going to get technical things about how they worked it out now. I would imagine what the company would have done, they would have found out some way to check it.
Is there
In
a
my mind,
Mythbusters
the
episode?
pencil would be stationary, and they would have a roll of paper that rolled around, and they could count it that way. That's what I'm assuming.
We need to hire a sidecar.
They're called Troika. I bought 2. They're
very
not
nice.
advertising the show, but Troika people, if you see me on here, I'd be more than happy to accept a freebie. Yeah, Deep Space Nine. Bashir, whose favourite character, even in Deep Space Nine, is
A lot
Bashir.
of people like Bashir. People like Bashir. They like his like weird nerdy little vibe. It's cool,
I think he's my least favourite of all the Doctors in
Lots
Star
of people
Trek.
like pathetic men.
Okay.
Way.
We're 209 episodes in. It's great.
Yeah, I know. We know that. We're aware. We're that good. I don't know. Just yeah. Bashir. There you go.
This is supposed to be an interview, and it's just fucking nonsense.
I have we're sorry. This is what happens, Katie. Let's say we just get.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Comics.
What comics have you are you creatively contributing to in 2024?
I mean, the main one right now is Quantum, which I like. Like I said, I've got an ongoing story coming back. I don't know. Have you guys read any of my story in Quantum so far? If you haven't, I forgive you, but I am very upset. Well,
Yes, we have. We obviously
Okay.
have.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
It's called
We'll-
it's called Death and Taxes, and it's like a zombie noir mystery about zombies that are government created and created in order to stop people from to make people continue to work after they die. So it's like basically it's capitalism is the real
Yes.
monster, which is a very unique and original theme. I know nobody's ever done it like me before. But yeah, no, it's a fun story. It's got a decent amount of body horror in it, which is always sort of my starting point when I'm writing something. Just, you know, how what nasty things can I do to innocent human forms? And luckily I've got a great artist working with me, Tom Newell, who Steve set me up with on this. He's got a very sort of like very like designerly, like bold, like very, I mean, I want to say like Mike Mignola style, but it's like that feels like it feels like a comparison that's used too often. But if you look at his stuff, it's got kind of a feel like that with thinner inks. The color is John Charles and my letter is Rob Jones, and yeah, no, they're good folk, and it's been a fun story to work on. It's coming back in 7, and yeah, if you're interested in zombies or capitalism, please look into it and then tell me that you like it, because that makes me happy.
What's your favorite zombie death in a movie, based on
my
like
favorite,
your favorite,
like my favorite zombie subtype, or
no, I'm thinking like you said when you mentioned like the body horror thing. What's your favorite body horror moment in a movie?
In any movie? Oh, that's tough. Okay, so I don't know if it's like my favorite body horror moment, but one that really stuck with me is, have you seen the movie Cube Zero?
I've seen the Cube.
I mean, I think Cube Zero is like an origin story for Cube. The premise of Cube is that a bunch of people are stuck in like a big cube made of a lot of smaller interlocking cubes, and they need to try and find a way out of all these cubes. But some of the cubes have traps, and one of the traps is an acid that sprays on you and turns you into like mush. And the sequence where this guy gets like cube mushed has really it's like I can see it very clearly when I close my eyes. It's like, I don't know, you see like his legs falling out of his trousers as like pink porridge. It's good fun. It's good fun. If any of that sounds appealing to you, check out Cube Zero and find the origin of the cube, I guess.
I remember watching the Cube. I think it's the only one I've watched, and I think the first person to die there actually gets cubed. He goes in. He does get cubed. Yeah, and just sort of falls apart in oxo-cube-sized pieces.
Yeah. What a strange series of movies.
It was. It really, really was.
It has, in fairness, it has sounded like you two for the last 2 minutes have just gone cube.
We're in the cube now, and the cube is talking about cube.
I've seen the first one. It's really good. Is that talking about like cubing human beings? It's a terrible movie, but one of my favorite deaths.
Resident Evil.
I
knew it. Yeah. Uh-huh. No, that's a good cubing scene.
That's a good cubing. Come on,
we can rank movies on the
cube-based death.
Mine's is Cuba Gooding Jr. Show me the money. There you go. Cube.
See, now we're just going to get people getting cube.
We are technically just 5 cubes talking to each other.
We are all in cubes, yes. My favourite cubes is the Terrahawks.
Yes.
The Terrahawks cubes.
My favourite cubes are cola cubes. From when I was growing up,
that's a good cube.
I think that cola cubes have a different vibe to like human cubes. Like, you probably wouldn't want to eat a human cube unless you were of a very particular disposition. Maybe.
Very hungry.
It depends what part of the human body.
That's true. Anyway, yeah.
You
can buy. Let me plug Quantum. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah,
it's got so many cubes in it. It's great. Look, it's like a whole. Oh, I'm big now. Is that supposed to be like that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Quantum. I've got a pile of them here. You can get them in your local newsagents. Every 2 months, you can pick up a copy of Quantum and follow various adventures, or back Quantum on Patreon, and then Steve will like you as a special friend, and he'll say hello to you at a Comic-Con, and you'll get like all sorts of Patreon specials where he tells you how to write comics. It's good. He does write good advice. I'm just very bad at selling things, which is why it's funny that I work in marketing.
I like your your interview style in that. If we talk nonsense, you just talk louder and make us be quiet. It's good.
It works.
It's a good sales technique.
That was the instruction I gave at the start. Like, I'm talking too much, just talk over me and shout over me. Yeah. Because I wanted to bring, I wanted to bring up the fact that Geoff was like, it's like people were like, "Oh, did you hear about this guy? He ate somebody," and everyone else was like, "It's shocking, disgusting," and Geoff was like, "Well, what bit though?" As if some bits are better, some bits are acceptable.
I mean, if you were stranded in the snow and you like only had like another human being who was dead. Okay, we should bring back the cube talk. Sorry, Paddy. Yeah, no, that's true. I like the movie.
Do you like horror story about an Argentinian rugby team?
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. They got like stranded in the. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They all had to eat each other, which is nightmarish. But like, I'm not going to judge them for it. I would do cannibalism probably, and I'm a vegetarian. Like,
No salt or garlic though.
Well, I'm a vegetarian. I've got nothing to compare it to.
That's true. So Quantum, sorry, we're going back to Quantum. We're going back to movies. What we're doing?
One more cubing movie or semi-cubing movie. Have you seen the movie Ghost Ship?
Yes.
Yes, it's not really a cube. I'm not really a cubing, but I feel like it gets an honorary mention just because it does involve people being cut by like they're being cut in a very straight line, so it belongs in the cubing box. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah. I hope that satisfied you, Paddy.
We'll do a regular cube section from now on. Every week
Thank
we'll
you.
talk about our favourite
This will be my legacy.
death in a cube movie.
What they want.
And then once we've finished all the cubes, we'll move on to Saw. Or maybe occasionally we'll do something random, like Friday the 13th. Maybe at Halloween. We'll do Friday the 13th at Halloween. And then Halloween when it's Friday the 13th. That will really confuse me.
Yes.
Good times.
Fuck's sake. Can we spent half an hour just like flying around on trying to get the technology to work, and we now are failing,
exhausted
as interviewers. So
I'm doing my best. I'm mentioning body horror and everything, and it's not working. So I'm trying to be a good guest here by talking about cubing.
There's a good cubing.
Get what that boy needs.
Junior. There you go. I'm telling you. You want an Oscar?
You keep on going on about it, and so we're talking about cubing, a good cubing, give it a cube. You're making it sound like a euphemism for something. I'm starting to like,
it's not a euphemism. It's about.
Is it just watching cube?
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, we need to appreciate the important cultural place that the cube movies have. I feel like my personality's been shaped by them, and I'm sure all of you do too.
I do know.
This evening at least, yes.
I'm going to have to watch more than just the one that I've watched, unfortunately.
I find the first one really good. There's like 4 in there. I watched the first one and it was really confusing but enjoyable. And then the second one, like they introduced time as like the new dimension in horror. I think was the tagline.
That's Hypercube.
Yeah, Hypercube.
So did this start as like that blinking film with J-Lo in it, like 20 years ago?
The Cell.
She went into people's things.
Oh, the Cell.
The Cell. Yeah.
On track all night.
Paddy, we all thought it was a dream we once had, but it was real.
Paddy,
I think this is a dream I'm having right now.
I too did a lot of drugs in the 90s, and some things that are just like I think are real, but you just think that couldn't have been real, could it?
Yeah, I had a dream that there was an arcade in Edinburgh, and it doesn't exist. And
where was it?
Broke my heart. It was just down from Coburn Street, like on Market. In my dream, it was like Market Street kind of area.
Yeah. There is like a bar around there that has like a bunch of arcade games in it. So maybe like
Mortal Cocktails is there, but
yes,
it was like
yes.
It was really cool Mortal Cocktails. So.
I had a dream in the very early 90s. One of my friends had told me Chevy Chase had died, and I spent 20 years thinking Chevy Chase had died. And then Community came on. Excuse me. And it turns out Chevy Chase isn't dead, just thoroughly unpleasant.
Was that a relief when you've discovered that Chevy Chase wasn't dead, or was it like a?
I'm a big fan of Chevy Chase, Three Amigos, and you know, Fletch, and those sort of movies back then. And even I thought he was brilliant in Community. Just like I thought, like not a very pleasant guy in real life, apparently.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's a shame.
But you look at that and you think, silly, look at your heroes. I look at Kelsey Grammer. One of my favourite guys from one of my favourite TV shows of all time. Horribly right-wing Trumpist. And you think, oh, really, Kelsey?
It's a bit like I really like It's Always Sunny, and the fact that Danny DeVito is amazing in that, but it's like he's not the person he's portraying in the show, which is the joke. But like what I found about when I found that Chevy Chase wasn't that nice a guy, watching Community, because he's an unpleasant character in Community. And that takes away from the fun of Community somewhat, when you're like, well, actually, like the joke.
You think he didn't get the joke in Community? Like he just acted like he would normally act and not realise that he was being portrayed.
Whereas I like to think that like he's a nice guy pretending to be an asshole, and very much in the same way that Danny DeVito is a nice guy pretending to be an asshole in It's Always Sunny.
Yeah. You want people to be nice, don't you? It's weird. It's like a sort of low-key parasocial thing. Like even if you don't care that much, it's just nice to think that people are nice, which sounds very naive, but
if you like their work and you like them, you want them to be nice as a person.
Exactly.
And I'm sure the vast majority of them are. I'm well on record as saying I think Vincent D'Onofrio is just the best person on the planet. Absolutely love him. Everything he does, plus he's a thoroughly brilliant human being. I suppose for every Vincent D'Onofrio,
that plays assholes like Vincent D'Onofrio. I watched Men in Black at the weekend, and
he's great in that.
And he's great in it, and he's an asshole, but he's like the villain, but he's an alright human, and that adds to his performances. Whereas, like, I'm trying to think, for example, say there was Morrissey. When you find out Morrissey isn't that great a human, and as like a vegetarian, like emo, Morrissey should be the nicest person in the world.
You'd think, wouldn't you? But no, it's I mean, as a vegetarian, again, we are generally pretty terrible. So, like, it's not surprising to me. But he is letting down the side by being openly unpleasant rather than just secretly. All you carnivores know our secrets now.
You make it sound like in secret vegetarians are like all horrible.
Yes. Where do you think got to put that bloodlust somewhere?
Because of the lack of meat, is what it is.
I read a thing on Facebook today, and it was like the worst review. It was a guy who'd been to a vegan restaurant, and he'd left a review saying, "Look, I'm not a vegan. I'm a carnivore, but that food was really, really nice. If I liked it, well done for making the food so tasty." And the owner of the restaurant responded by saying, "You've heard about this, Kate, haven't you?"
I can just tell where it's going.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy being praised by someone that basically is similar to Hitler or Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck you, Bloodmouth.
Bloodmouth? Bloodmouth sounds like a 90s supervillain.
I know, exactly. That's
awesome.
So sounds like a slur from Harry Potter.
What does it like? Does he change his review and say, like, I really liked the place until I was compared to Jeffrey Dahmer or Hitler? And everyone who was responding was like, the guy was halfway towards turning. You could have just went, "Well, come back, try some more." You never know. We could have turned him completely. But no, the guy was like
Bloodmouth. No, that's not the vegetarian way. We like to target people's like personality and like who they are as human beings, rather than just go, "Thanks, man." Whose house is on fire, guys?
Yeah, is someone's smoke alarm going off?
Not mine. It's just like
Slightly concerning.
No.
It keeps on coming back. It's very mysterious.
It's the cube.
Some
It's the
blood
cube.
mouth's
Oh my
getting
god, the cube's got us.
It's some bloodmouth off screen.
That's the scariest cube you vegans have ever had. Is an OXO cube. Like, oh, the beefy goodness! Look at it. that would be the vegan version of the cube.
That's actually a real issue. You make fun of us, but that's actually a real issue as a vegetarian. Is like people using like
Stock cubes.
Using stock cubes and
They don't tell you.
like, stock.
Is there any
not
actual
using
beef in a
vegetarian
stock?
stock.
I'm not sure. I'm not convinced there's any actual beef in an OXO. Is it not just suet?
It's about the spirit of the thing.
Yes. It tends to be beef, so we're not having
But the OXO cube has a spirit in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
once alive.
It's just like haggis.
I could tell that. I put an OXO cube in everything, like pasta, sauce.
Yes, vegetarian
stews,
cube.
things like
Yes.
Yeah, you do get a vegetarian also cube.
You get vegetarian OXO cubes, yeah. Vegetarian cube would be the next in the sequel, wouldn't it?
Soulless.
Would you eat like would you think it was morally wrong to eat cloned human flesh if it wasn't actually like a living person?
I love this conversation.
Depends on the situation.
Well, I mean, it's not a person. It's just like it's morally produced. It's been grown in a lab using.
What if it's a
like...
clone of if it's a clone of yourself that you're eating?
Good question. Is that interesting? I mean, would that would be maybe the most moral choice because once again, which part of the human?
I'm not saying the same thing as Geoff said. It's like it matters which part. Like, well, we're not eating the bum or like that. But I suppose the bicep is okay or something like that.
What part of your body you donate?
It's more like the toes and shit. Like
who really wants toes?
I don't know.
Yeah, no one wants toes.
But no,
fry a toe and just like chew it.
What if those on humans are like chicken?
Sweet or salty?
You know, get them from
That
would be the concern, Paddy. Yes.
It's actually not healthy at all either because human flesh is high in iron and things like this. You get very ill eating human flesh. I learned that from the Book of Eli.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. We've all seen a lot of weird movies, haven't we?
Yeah.
Probably.
So this is now the beer, comics, and cannibalism podcast, is it? This is.
It was always a few inches away from becoming the cannibalism podcast. It's surprising it's taken this long, really.
I'm going to say, I think the thighs and the arms would be quite because they're muscly. You know, they would be quite thingy like that. I genuinely think the bum would be the best part.
It depends on the person whose thighs and arms you're eating, because like if you're very muscular, then yes, they'd be muscly. But if you weren't, then it would just be sort of like, you know, rich.
So if we were involved in a plane crash, then you three would all be looking at me and John and thinking, right, you've gone first. I've got the most.
Jeff taking OXO cubes out his pocket.
Salt sachets, some garlic.
I'm trying to sleep.
So long as the OXO cubes are vegetarian, it's fine.
My favorite bit of this whole interview is going to be the bit where you have to go back to Steve and be like, "How did it go?"
I'm not telling Steve about this one. I'll just say, oh yeah, I thought about going on the Brewgooders, but then I had a strange premonition that we'd just be talking about cannibalism and the Cube movies, and so I didn't.
That was like a good idea for a comic.
That's true. I've done my job. I've held up issues of Quantum for everyone to see. You can buy them in your local newsagent every 2 months. We're currently on issue 6, I think. I might be getting that wrong, but if you miss one, you can buy back issues on our website. So there you go. Do that. There. See, I've done my job. I'm very effective. Now I can talk about cannibalism as much as I want.
I was asking about your favorite vegan veg dish, which I think.
You know what's nice are the like vegetarian Richmond sausages, which are like fake meat, but they taste very, very good. And as you know, when you're not able to actually eat flesh, it's nice to find like a good substitute. So yeah, I would say the Richmond vegetarian sausages. Everyone should try them, even if you are like partaking of the flesh.
I'm starting to get the vibe that you're like a reformed cannibalist.
Yes, that's them. And I can neither confirm nor deny my cannibalism status, but
I
Were
did
I to
survive
be-
that plane crash, though.
Yeah, I did survive the plane crash.
I've had some nice vegetarian shawarma, to be honest with you. I've
Yeah,
recently
sure.
said this. And halloumi fries. I mean, is that
Halloumi
classified?
fries are great.
Halloumi
Sweet
fries
potato
are okay.
fries.
Sweet
Sweet potatoes are, yeah, those are
Amazing,
great.
yeah.
Mm.
I guess
Yeah.
green beans are all right.
Yeah.
There's more options in vegetarianism than just green beans. There's
It's only green beans.
lovely burgers out there. Lovely
Yeah.
burgers made from various assorted things. Beetroot. I think I had one a few weeks ago that was a beetroot based. It was very nice.
Yes.
And most pasta you can get away with just some cream and some mushrooms and some garlic.
I think it sounds like you're going to become a vegetarian.
I eat flexitarian, so I try and eat no meat 2 or 3 days a week. But then on the weekend I'll have a big fry up or a bacon and brie baguette or something like that.
That's
My
fair.
favourite. Paddy's made a good point that we're only mentioning the single items. My favourite,
It's a
like a
good
burger.
point.
I really like saganaki, which is like a Greek cheese.
Mm.
I would recommend that.
Tortelloni, yeah, you get spinach and ricotta cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, just in a sort of basic cream and mushroom sauce.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Yeah, no, I
I'm
think
also
that's a good one.
like I'm enjoying the part of this podcast where Stu and John are like, I could genuinely be doing anything else on a Thursday night.
Okay, let's go back to talking about Cube again. It's
I
fine.
was just waiting for a moment just to say the word broccoli.
Will we move on to like what we've been reading and a sort of geekery and
Yes,
all that
yes,
sort
good
of
idea. Yeah. Mhm.
stuff. What folk been doing this week? Stu, start us off. What have you been up to?
You expect me to remember anything for this past week after like the past 56 minutes?
Yeah.
My mind has been erased. I finally finished that. Someone making a sandwich. What's going on?
Nope.
Okay. The Belfast video we shared on Friday has become the second most popular video on the Lagerlord's YouTube channel. So I want to thank everyone that watched it. It was really good. I'm going to look forward to making more of those sort of travel vlogs in the future. Other than that, me and my wife have started watching Physical 100 Season 2 on Netflix, which is sort of like the Korean reality show where it's just like 100 athletes going against each other in a series of games till there's only one winner. And it's very entertaining.
That's cool. Yeah, I've
I
heard of
watched
that.
season one. I watched season one. Absolutely insanity. Like the level of the level of physical fitness and like when I can't do a press up, it ends up like
yeah. When they moved that boat.
That boat episode is amazing.
Yeah, that was incredible. The only thing is, I thought it was kind of unfair. I know that it's like right, we're going to try and find out who's the most, fittest, and there's no surprise that a man won it. When they got down to the final 20 and they were like, right, pick teams, and the 4 guys started picking the teams, and obviously the only 3 girls left at the end were left in one team because the top guy got to pick his team first and stuff like this. So I thought it was a wee bit unfair the way they worked that out. They should maybe have separate, like most sports, they should have separate categories for men and women. But apart from that,
it was a weird one because it was like. Just because of the type of physical activities that were asked and challenges that were given, like you say, it did become a bit like you're like this is leaning towards particular body types and actually like the masculine body type. Like it was a lot of like stuff that I'm like, well, actually, if you change this activity around, and it can still be a strength based activity, but there's just sort of different kinds of physical strength.
They could have do things that was more based around stamina or agility or things like that, which would would sort of even the playing field. But yeah, for 2 of the last 3, I think, were basically just down to who was the strongest.
It's a staggered release. So the first, I think, 4 episodes are on Netflix now. Then next Tuesday, another 3 goes on. And then the week after that, the final 2 then go on. But no, that first episode is great because it's got the 100 people and then they're just being put on manual treadmills and told to run.
Yeah. That's an example. So I remember the very first episode of season 1. They just have to hang, don't they? And it's just basically they get put on like a climbing frame, basically, and it gets suspended above
lifted off the ground. Yeah.
So
I watch these videos on YouTube. I watch most of what I watch is on YouTube, but they do these series of videos with something called the Barclay Marathons. I don't know if you've heard of these.
No.
They're called they're backwoods endurance races, what they call a backyard marathon in America, and it's endurance races. So it's like a 5K circuit, and you have to run it in 35 minutes. But it's through woods and up a couple of hills and stuff like this. So your good guys will be able to do it in 20-25 minutes or something like that. But basically, it's the person who can do the most. But it's no like you can't start lapping people. You've got to get through and after the first half hour, and then you can rest a wee bit, and then the next one starts on the next half hour or the next hour if it's a 10K thing. And basically, it's the people who last the longest. These things run sometimes for 25, 30, 35 hours.
Madly.
If you didn't get round, if you didn't get to the gate before the hour is up, you're out. So these are endurance races, and they're crazy. Look up Barclay Marathons on YouTube. It's amazing.
That's amazing. That sounds like you've. So is that just the standard like household watching program? Is that your physical 100? Is that?
I think it was just because we got that invested in it last year. We knew what day it was going on Netflix this year. We're just glad that it got a second season and started binge watching it, and then realised we weren't getting all of the episodes at once. So we kind of pumped the brakes and thought, right, let's stagger these episodes. But no, we've been watching some films. I showed my wife the movie Death Proof for the first time.
Yes.
Great movie.
And she just like, so what type of movie is this? And like, shh.
I'll tell you, just watch it. Just watch it.
Aye, this first 45 minutes is going to mean nothing in a minute. Don't get attached to these people.
Amazing. What about you, John? What have you up to this week?
I binged all of Ted Lasso. So I started Ted Lasso.
Season.
Barbecue sauce.
I started, I started it last week and I finished it last night. All 34 episodes, top-notch stuff. Season 3, a wee bit weaker than the rest, but still much better than most TV out there. So,
I thought that
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Season 3 is weaker, but I mean, there's even within season 3, we've had this conversation loads of times just in the pub and that. Like season 3 is slightly weaker, but it's got some of my favorite moments in the entire series peppered into that. The bit where the whole thing about why can't I remember character names? The best character in Ted Lasso,
Roy Kent.
Roy, sorry.
Roy.
I can't remember. The bit in season, one of my favorite seasons is when he gets made to do a press conference, and the whole thing is he doesn't want to do it, and he does it because it's not available, and it's just he has to deal with the racist incident.
Isaac's kicking off. What Isaac did with the thing,
amazing. It's amazing. It's like the best 5 minutes of television. It's just like it's a monologue, effectively, and it's just wonderful. The Manchester City scene, the Manchester City episode's great. The one where they go to the one where they go to Amsterdam, that weird like segue. It's just great. Like
Roy Kent's birthday party.
Yeah, it's just great.
Yeah.
You know, I really like his niece Phoebe. She was crazy.
Have you seen it?
It's a really good show.
Okay, you know see it's a comedy about football.
I've not seen it. I mean, it's I'm sorry. I've heard it's good. Sorry, it's like The Bear. I haven't watched it. I probably should.
They're both amazing. You have to get kind of past because I think they
it's not about football.
I can't
football's the backdrop of it, but there's very little actual football takes place. It's all about the relationships involved in the people behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm not a sports fan at all. So for me, it's just about the comedy. But obviously, you do get invested in the sports side of it. So it's a lot of fun. It's recommended. Very good show. Good performances. Well written. Well directed. Just good all round fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Good show, man. I fucking love Ted Lasso. I What have you been up to, Andrew?
I started a new show on Apple called Constellation,
Oh,
which
cool.
is a sci-fi show about a woman, female astronaut, on the space station who comes, like, there's a disaster and there's an experiment going on, and she comes back to Earth, and things have changed. I'm only 2 episodes in. The kind of, it seems to be insinuating that it's like maybe like a parallel Earth type thing that she's managed to thingy into it, and her daughter smells slightly different, and there's things into it. But there's some great, like, it's well written. Acting quality is very high. The standard of the cast is very, very high. Numera Pace is the main, from Girl in the Dragon Tattoo, the original.
Oh yeah.
Is the thing yet? Jonathan Banks, who, depending on where you know him from, either Community or Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad, is
Beverly Hills Cop.
Or Beverly Hills Cop, indeed, yeah, as a much younger man. So yeah, I've been watching that, and it's very, very good. I'm also rewatching Daredevil because I want to. And
it's amazing.
I'm going on holiday on Saturday, so I bought a new book by a local author, guy from Falkirk called Gareth Brown, called The Book of Doors.
I think I've heard of that.
It looks very, very good. The idea caught me immediately it's about magic and doors that can take you anywhere. Speaking as somebody who read The Never-Ending Story when I was like 12, and I've been like wanting to recapture that kind of magic ever since. I'm hoping it'll be the one that does me when I'm lying by the pool in 3 days' time. So,
amazing, man. That's cool.
Okay, I need to pop off, guys. I need to.
No worries, John. Thanks for your time, man.
Take care.
Bye. I'm saving Katie for last. Sorry. I've been reading The Hero Dies Alone. I picked up at Geek last week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I saw that for sale.
Not my usual standard fare, but I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to hold off next week and give a full review, though. But just really good. Chris Phillips, talked to him for ages. A really nice guy. So I'm really looking forward to like getting him on the show and stuff like that. But I've been watching, and it took me ages, and I probably would have got there quicker if Andrew was on last week. But I've been watching the Spanish language Zorro program.
Cool.
It's really, really good. What I am enjoying about it, and what I hadn't really thought about it, is there isn't a dub. It's all subtitled. So I have been. So I have had to put my phone down because if you're not paying attention, you can't understand what's going on. And that's quite refreshing. I haven't done that in a long time. Where like I do an awful lot of like scrolling on my phone when there's TV on in the background and not really watching it. I was annoyed because I ended up googling it. But the premise of the new Zorro program is that Zorro is like a role that gets like passed on when one Zorro dies. The Spirit Fox comes out and picks the new Zorro to take over. So it's like there is always a Zorro, and the series starts with the Zorro dying, and so you then follow the new protagonist and becoming Zorro. But the old Zorro is Danny Rojas from
Danny Rojas.
Ted Lasso.
Danny Rojas. And it took me, and I just totally out of context. I'm used to seeing him in a Richmond AFC kit. So when he's in his Zorro gear, I'm like, who is this guy? Because he's brilliant, and I couldn't work it out. And I was like, well, Danny from Ted Lasso. But yeah, so he is the old Zorro, and the new one's like a Spanish landowner. So it's playing around with the fact that it's this whole conversation about the fact that like he is the whole Bruce Wayne thing where he represents like the capitalist like overlord, but at the same time is trying to defend the people of California, and him trying to battle with the fact that like he's trying to save a world that he helped form. You know, he's trying to like defend people against a problem that he helped create, which is quite really enjoying. It's really good. Shot really well, filmed really, shot really well, acted really well. Really enjoying it. There was something else I was watching this week. I watched the first episode of X-Men '97. Has anyone seen that yet?
Oh, cool! I haven't seen it yet, but yeah.
It's brilliant. Like everyone should
excited
get it
to watch it.
The first 2 episodes are on Disney Plus.
I need to get to that. No, you go.
I
You
think
go.
like
You
you
go.
I really, really, really enjoyed it, and then went online as you do to find out what the general consensus of it is, and it's like 95 certifiably fresh on
Oh my god.
Folk are really loving it. It's just nice. Folk need to check it out. If you enjoyed the 90s, if you enjoyed the 90s cartoon, you'll love this one. But like it knows what it wants to be and it's pulling off. So I'm enjoying that. I've also been watching. Go sorry, Kay.
The second I saw Cyclops do the I'll have to surrender not thing in the trailer, I was like, this show knows what it's doing, and I'm here for it. So yes, I'm excited. Sorry, please go on.
He calls them my X-Men a few times as well, which I really like. You know, he which he does that in the comics quite a lot, where he's like, you know, where he like he's often having, you know. I always think Cyclops is a really interesting character in the comics because he's often been left to deal with the shit that's been created by like everyone around
I
him.
really like the Renegade Cyclops era where he was like, you know, leading the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants and working with Magneto and dating Emma Frost. That was really good. I really liked him during the Krakoa time. I think that's been really fun. But yeah. No, I think
he started off as this like oat milk character, like really bland. The original X-Men. I was watching him, reading them from the original X-Men, and then I think he's the character that changed. He became the character almost the X-Men you love to hate. You know, arrogant and obnoxious, and like you say, dating Emma Frost, and just
that's Scott.
the most changed character. You know, he was almost like the poster child for mutants, and he just became more and more jaded and cynical as he got older.
I think he should kill Xavier again. I think he should do that again. That was good for him.
Yeah. Okay. I remember when he killed them all so he could have the Phoenix Force to himself.
He did do that. Well,
Was that the X-Men versus Avengers arc? That was amazing.
Yeah. When they split the Phoenix up, and it was like him and Emma and Namor and Alana, I think, and
Ilyana, and
kind of a weird mix of characters, but you know, I guess that's how it is sometimes.
It was great because Peter Rasputin got that power, and then he also got the power of the Juggernaut. I think in the same
I remember that.
as well. So he Colossus became almost untouchable.
There's a one-issue Spider-Man. It's part of that crossover. There's a Spider-Man eccentric aspect of that. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man. Like, it reminds me why Spider-Man's ultimately one of the better characters in Marvel. There's like where during that Avengers versus X-Men thing, I think they're trying to. They basically work out that Cyclops' daughter, whose name escapes me, is the key.
Hope Summers.
Rachel?
No, I think it's Hope.
Hope's not his daughter. Hope is his adopted granddaughter because his son Cable adopts her and runs away with her to the future.
Sorry.
Obviously.
Right, get it right. She's from the future.
So she obviously she's aware that she's important, and but her in the Avengers X-Men crossover, she's like, she knows that her time's important, but she's not yet ready. You know, it's that whole, you've been told how important you are, and you've been told that you're going to save the world and all that sort of stuff, but she's still dealing with the fact that she's still quite young, and she's like, how can I be what everyone says I am? And Spider-Man has this whole moment where he's like, there'll just be a point in your future where you have to step up, and that'll be your moment. And then later on, there's a big fight, and Spider-Man works out that in order for everyone to escape this horrible situation from their fighting, I think it might actually be Cyclops, but he's worked out that in order for everyone else to escape, somebody needs to stand behind and just basically be the distraction. And so he has the moment where he's like, "Oh, it'll be me then," and he kind of shrugs it off, and I think he turns to somebody. He's like, "Can somebody just tell Hope that I meant what I said?" And then he goes back to be the sacrificial man. And I was like, "Fucking love you, Spider-Man."
Very Spider-Man of him.
It's very Spider-Man-y. So I was like,
I love these two comments and the things. The two edgy.
Magneto was right, Paddy. Yeah, exactly, guys. Yeah.
As I get older, more and more,
he did a lot wrong.
I sympathise with the bad guys.
The only thing he did wrong was being cool. It didn't even make any sense. I'm sorry. He
walked out, and his gypsy wife with her two young kids. Just never looked back, never brought them up as his own.
Well, die though? Oh wait, no, that was a different set of kids. No, his one daughter
was-
died. The other kids he didn't know about. They were stolen by a cow lady and raised like by the Grand Evolutionary, and they may or may not actually be his children. They're like on again, off again, his children. He didn't know about it anyway.
Wanda and Pietro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's not his fault. He didn't mean to abandon them. The cow lady did it.
The cow lady. Can he stand up in court?
It was Boba.
It was the cow lady.
He's using the cow lady defense again.
He's using cow lady defense. That's the South Park, isn't it? Chewbacca comes from
Yes,
cow.
exactly, Anna. Exactly. Yes.
What? Yeah, Johnny Cochran, will he use the Chewbacca defense?
Chewbacca defense. I agree. Magneto was the good guy. Thanos was the good guy. Samuel L.
I know about
Jackson's
Thanos.
character in
Thanos
Kick-Ass
killed a lot
was
of
the good
people.
guy. Yeah, but they needed to be killed. He brought balance to the universe.
I mean, he just I don't think Thanos wanted to bring balance to the universe. I think Thanos just wanted to murder a lot of people.
Oh no, it
and
was
was
all
like,
about balance.
this is a good reason to do this.
Why didn't he just make the universe bigger?
Yeah, he could have done that. I think Thanos is at very least lacking in imagination.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut the universe in half so we've got resources rather than
food,
double the resources. Double the resources, because if you double the resources, people will just want more. That's my Thanos.
I don't know.
That's
I mean,
good.
I think if Thanos was taking it seriously, he would have done something else. Like, I think Thanos just wanted to murder a lot of people. I think Thanos thought he was doing the right. I think Thanos thought he wanted to kill. He wanted to do the right thing, but really, Thanos just wanted to murder people. That's my Thanos hot take.
Then if he was going to do that, why would he murder half of the universe and then go and live on a farm?
Weirdo.
He was happy going and living on a farm.
I think he was only happy doing that because he'd done all the murdering first. He was like, my
if you
job's
think
done
about it,
here.
If you think about it, the Joker's the same. He just wants to have fun and bring a smile to people's life. And what happens? A billionaire beats him up on a regular basis. It's just an example of what's wrong with society. We've lost Geoff.
I think Geoff's left. We talked too much about comics and it made him very sad.
Yeah, well, when you pulled him up about how he got Scott Summers' daughter wrong,
I can't help that he was incorrect, okay? I'm sorry that my X-Men lore is very deep and nuanced.
Sorry, Geoff.
I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm not overly offended.
Look at the what's anybody else saying anything? So yeah, what are you watching, reading, writing, or doing, Katie?
Right now I've been listening actually to a lot of a podcast. It's called The Silt Verses. It's like a folk horror dystopia where I mean the premise is like what if there was just a god for everything, and there was a god of coffee and a god of fast food, and worshipping them actually helped, but also sometimes turned people into crab monsters. It's very good. It's very good. Yeah, the Silt Verses. It's about worshipping river gods and the perils that come from that.
SILT.
Yes. Yes, SILT. Yeah.
Can I get that on the Apple?
You should be able. I think so. Yeah, you should be able to get it everywhere. It's a lot of fun.
I've
just finished reading a book called My Heart is a Chainsaw, which is about slasher movies and a girl who's very obsessed with slasher movies, and it's like it's just a meaty big book about obsession. It's very good, also very good. And I rewatched the movie Divergent, and it's very bad, and everyone should also watch that.
No, why did you do that?
It's really funny to watch. Look. It's like a dystopia. It's a dystopia. It's like a teen dystopia, and the way that this dystopia works is that people are divided up by personality type, and there's one girl who wants to be all the personality types. But so
there's always one.
There's always one.
All the personality types are like dauntless and erudite and like selflessness and like one of them's just farming. One of them is just
It was a movie that desperately wanted to be the Hunger Games.
Yes, absolutely. It was,
and I think based on a book which desperately wanted to be the Hunger Games,
yes.
which in itself was a book which desperately wanted to be Battle Royale. But
Everyone should watch Divergent. Every she's not like the other girls. She's divergent. Anna knows. Anna's so wise. Yes.
She's not like the other girls. She's unique. She's unique, just like everyone else.
All the other girls are just one personality, but not our main character, who's all the personalities.
In my experience, most girls have many personalities, but that's beside the point.
I mean,
I don't remember it.
Personalities.
Yeah, most people. I don't remember Divergent being a very good movie. I don't think there was anything.
It's not very good. It's very bad.
There was a follow-up, isn't there? But did they not never bother making the third one? Or
no, they made a sequel, and then in their immense hubris, they split there's like 3 books, and they split the last book into 2 movies because they were like, we're going to make as much money off this as possible. But then they ran out of funding after making the first half of the last book, so it just ends on a cliffhanger. So,
and they never bothered to go back and make the ending of it. So okay.
Everyone should watch it. It's a classic.
I can think of I think everybody's got their favorite bad movies. Like there is a thing where you can
Zombiever. Everybody's got their Zombiever. Mine's the Zombiever.
I watched The Meg a couple months ago and thought it was fucking brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it's not
it's the Statham thing with the
Jason Statham and a big shark. Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's not a good movie, but it's great.
I'm so scared for his feet in that movie. They're so close to that shark. His little toes, they're so close to the shark.
I don't think that shark exists.
Do you know Jason Statham was in the Commonwealth Games for England as a diver. If you go on YouTube, you can find Jason Statham diving in the Commonwealth Games. He wasn't very good, much better than the average person because he was obviously a professional, but didn't medal. But there you go. There's Jason Statham.
Well, I'm glad the shark didn't get him there either.
So
I watched talking about sharks in that. Sorry, I know I'm saying that as if somebody else brought it up, but I did. I watched Jaws with Sonny this week. Forgot how in my head thought Jaws wasn't as bad. It's a great movie, but it wasn't as gruesome as in my head as I remember it being younger.
And 1970s was before they cleaned up movies, before movies became a wee bit more milquetoast. So there's people with bits bitten out of them. There's bits where you can see the legs floating and
heads bobbing out.
It's Quinn's. Everything was kind of fine until Quinn's death at the end, and that was the bit that stuck with Sonny. So we were talking. That stuck with him, and also the bit that he was quite bored. And I kind of suggested to him that being bored is like, in that particularly the bit in the boat just before the shark comes out and he's throwing chum out nonchalantly because he's and then he's like that we're going to need a bigger boat scene. I was trying to explain to Sonny that a part of that scene was that you were supposed to be bored. So when the shark come, they were trying to portray boredom. So when the shark comes out, you get a bigger fright because you're bored, so you're not paying attention, and then this scary thing happens. And when he was talking to people the next day, and I was saying, "Oh, me and Sonny watched Jaws yesterday," he was like, "Yeah," and there's bits with that are quite boring, but actually you're supposed to be bored. And he went into this, so I was like, when your 8-year-old is explaining filming techniques to people, it's great.
Very impressive.
That's Paddy saying Cocaine Bear. I've not seen Cocaine Bear.
Yeah,
I heard
that's a lot.
Not seen it yet, but apparently very, very good.
Yeah, good fun.
I like movies that are like The Meg, like Cocaine Bear, where it's just it's stupid for an hour and a half, and afterwards you can be like, yeah, that was fine. And I say Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Yeah.
A good example.
And I've seen that book, but I didn't realise they'd made that into a movie, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Years ago, yeah.
Did the same with, what was it, Abraham Lincoln Vampire
Hunter. I've seen that one.
Hunter Killer?
Yeah. But Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, I think the guy who wrote that was quite genius because he just basically took the original text of Pride and Prejudice and just inserted his sort of zombie storyline into it. So you have these same balls and girls dancing and Mr. Darcy and stuff like this. And then just random breakout moments of zombies in the book at least. I don't know how they dealt with that. The
film's very similar. Yeah, it's good. Really good.
So,
For sure. Right.
Okay.
Anyone else have anything they want to talk about before we call it quits? That's our hour and a half. But
That's
because
good for me.
That's
Oh,
this
yeah.
has been a riotous
Been talking
laugh.
to you
I
guys.
really enjoyed this. You can
Yeah.
come back
Nice
to
to talk to all of you.
Awesome.
Bye, Quantum.
Bag one. Genuinely, I've got it. It's great.
Oh, thank you.
It's amazing being able to walk into your local day-to-day
Hmm.
news agent and buy your coffee. Buy coffee from the Starbucks coffee machine they've got there, and then pick up a comic that you know the amazing folk behind it. Like,
Oh, thank you.
When I first bought it, I took it to the guy who owned the shop and was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you've got this!" Blah blah blah. I was trying to explain it, and obviously in issue 1, you had the Brew Gooders advert in there as well. So I was able to say, "That's me, and my friends, and it's my friends Steve and Katie and their team that put this together." And the guy was like, "I have no idea what this is. I just get it in."
Are you going to pay for it? Yeah.
It was like, it was good. Please keep getting it in, and I will just come and get it from you. So he has. So that's awesome. Yeah, Katie, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch up with you.
It's been great. Really nice to talk to you guys.
And Andrew and Stu, thank you for your patience once again.
No problem, mate. We will get
No
it
worries.
sorted. We will get.
Yeah. Cheers, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
See you.
See ya.